Pep
Yeah,
Talk
man.
UK Pro Beez. Remember, subscribe, and I'm delighted to be joined finally by the ex-Chelsea, West Ham, and Celtic frontman striker Carlton Cole. How you doing?
How you doing, bro? How you doing, man? Just living my life, man. Just enjoying it, enjoying every second of it, even in these times.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute. I mean, we've been trying to get together for a little while now, and I appreciate you're a busy man. It looks like life after football is just as busy as when you were playing.
Yeah, man. That's what I want to say. Like, basically, like all of this, like obviously the COVID stuff. But I was always trying to. I'm always hustling, man. Like I've always had that in my blood. I'm half
Mm.
Nigerian, innit? So obviously that's in the blood. You know what I mean? We like. It's not how much money you make; it's how you make it. You know what I mean? So we're always on that. We're always trying to. And then on top of that, I'm trying to represent for young kids that need to know about work ethic. You know what I mean? Because you don't get anywhere in life without working, man. So that's the main thing for me. I like working hard. I like staying busy. My mind's growing every day. I like reading books. I like reading about other people's stories. I like seeing other people's stories. So yeah, man, it's just all education for me. All systems go, man.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
look, talking of football, I mean, the season, after much trials and tribulations, writing up policies, trying to put together guidelines, it looks like it's finally happening. We're ready to go next weekend. The Premier League returns. As a player, in terms of this whole COVID-19 situation, how would you feel as a player getting back onto the pitch after what has transpired in terms of this pandemic?
As a player, I would be excited, but at the same time, depends what situation you're in. Do you know what I mean? Look, imagine, I'll put it this, I'll play devil's advocate, right? So imagine you've just been bought to come and play in England, right? And then obviously the pandemic hits, right? And you're probably not from here, you're probably from abroad, yeah? And all you want to do is play football because you want to prove yourself. So we've got a guy called like Thomas Souček. He's a young player. He's come across from wherever he's come from to come and play for West Ham. And he obviously, all he wants to do is come and play football. Do you know what I mean? So a player like that definitely wants to get back as soon as possible. Then you got say you got an older sort of player, right? So a seasoned pro, played the game for quite a while, has got a family that he has to take care of. Then all of a sudden, health and all those sort of things come to your mind. Do you know what I mean? Because you're not living alone. You've got responsibilities. You got responsibilities. You might have a newborn at home. You might have an elderly parent with you at home. So you've got different responsibilities. So it depends what sort of what position you are in life, so that you can get back. So if for me, I would be wary about going to football, mixing with other people if there wasn't right protocols in place to protect myself and then protect my family as that. But as a young player coming in and you want to prove yourself, it's a perfect time to go and do your thing and prove yourself, and you just want to get back to playing. But I can understand why there are players a bit skeptical about getting back because they just don't know whether they're going to be tested for COVID in a positive way or in a negative way, and how is that going to affect their family. Do you know what I mean? So there's two ways of looking at it, but you get paid to do a job. I'm always a champion of that. The Premier League know what they're doing. The FA know what they're doing, and you just got to trust them, you know? So you just got to do your thing.
Yeah, I think we've seen over the past few days a lot of negative tests in terms of positive testing that's come back. The numbers have been quite low, which is encouraging for the players. You know what I mean? Stepping out.
Of course, that's hindsight. But when it first happened and everyone was saying, "Oh, we've got to go back, we've got to go back," everyone was nervous. Like everyone's gonna be nervous. It's like my mum or my grandma. They step out to the supermarket. Do you know what I mean? They don't know they don't know if they're gonna go and get something like that because no one knows anything because you're just walking down a blind alley. So if you're always gonna be skeptical about going into something blindly, but you have to it's like you know what it's like? It's like going on a plane and you just got to rely on the pilot to get you there safely. Do you know what I mean? So it's one of those things where you got to rely on other people for your safety, and that's where a lot of people might not want to give that someone the lead to go and do that about their lives. So yeah, I understand it, but it is what it is. I trust the Premier League. I trust the FA to do a great job and protect everybody that's in the football community.
Yeah, I mentioned your old club Chelsea, and whilst the Premier League has been on pause, I've seen Frank Lampard he's shopping around, and they got Ziyech coming in, Werner as well from Germany. I'm like, wow,
Yeah,
Chelsea are gonna do a Mazza next season. It's like, wow,
yeah.
serious.
Look, Chelsea are looking serious right now. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, obviously, I'm happy for Frank that he's got that job and he's doing his part, because I think he's been doing a great job so far this season. Now he's shopped around. He's had a look. The embargo came off, so obviously he's allowed to shop now, and he's bought the players that he wants and sees that is going to make a difference for that team. And I reckon the players, he knows his players. He's not stupid, and he's got good scouts around him too. So he's done his investigation, and I just know whatever he chooses, he knows football, and he will do a great, stellar job in selecting the right players to come in to Chelsea and do the job that he's supposed to do. And they've got to fit into his system. So he's choosing players that's going to fit into his system and is going to do the job in the best way they can for him.
So I mentioned Frank Lampard. Obviously, you know, he's landed a top job at Chelsea in the hot seat. But there has been, you know, a lot of question as to why, you know, we have young black managers that have not had the opportunity to get into top jobs. You've been an ex-player, you've been in football. Talk to me as to why there's been some form of struggle and there's no black manager in the Premier League.
There's a few reasons, I would say. Obviously, you could say there's loads of reasons, actually. I'd say the main reason is the trust, because there's not been a lot of evidence to suggest that there's been a lot of successful black managers at any level, really, if you look at it. And yeah, there's a system. I would say I've already said there's a systematic problem. Like most of these owners, they might look at a black person and then look at someone see a white person, and I think, well, when we look at the two, I think I'll go with the white person because that's tried and tested. Do you know what I mean? But what I would say is all about character. So if an owner would say to you, say, listen, see that person there, has he got the minerals to take my team to the next level? Has he got the qualifications to take my team to the next level? What is he bringing to the table that person's not? And if that person's already tried and tested and he's got a formula, am I going to risk putting all my onus on this black person, this black manager that hasn't got no experience yet, doesn't know what he's doing? And you can say that about Frank Lampard. Frank Lampard got the Derby job first. But when you look at Frank Lampard's history, he's actually from a footballing background. He's got generations of football in his family. Do you know what I mean? So, and you can see that he's well educated on the sport, not just on the pitch as a player, and he's more educated as a person off the field too. Because you can see where, when you talk to Frank, you can understand he's a very intelligent person in football. I'm not sure about his academic reasons, but I know in football, when you talk to him, he knows what he's talking about. And he's like one of those guys that you look at and you think, do you know what? I wouldn't mind him being my captain. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's got that leadership skills and the leadership quality. There's not a lot of evidence that there's really good, great black managers out there, because we haven't been given the chance yet. So there's going to be a cycle that's going to keep on going and going and going. And until we break that mold, and until owners look at managers and don't look at the color of their skin to ultimately judge who's going to do a better job for that team, then that's when the mold has been broken. And not just that, you got to look at once you do employ a black manager as a coach, as an owner, give him time to prove himself, because managers nowadays, they don't even get enough time to prove themselves. You know what I mean? It's turbulent, very turbulent. Even with white managers, they come into a job and they get sacked in a month's time. You know what I mean? So imagine a black manager comes in, not doing well the first month, but if you actually gave him 6-7 months or a year to prove himself, he might actually come good. So the way football is, it's such a turbulent system right now. It's going to be hard for black managers to come in and have to prove themselves straight away, especially when they're under the spotlight, they're under pressure, there's loads going on. It's going to be difficult, but you need one owner to come up trump and say, do you know what, I'm going to give this guy a year, I'm going to give him a 3-year, 4-year contract, and we're going to trust the process. Do you know what I mean? And that's where things might change. I'm not saying it will change, it might change, but we need somebody that's in there that's actually going to be given time to prove themselves.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that, just as you touched on, it's going to take someone to be successful to open out the whole situation. I think when Paul Ince was at Blackburn,
not even that. I'll say not even Paul Ince. I'd say even prior after that, would say let's look at Chris Hughton. Chris Hughton done a stellar job.
And Newcastle.
Newcastle, he done well at Brighton, got them promoted for the first time ever in their history. So into the Premier League. So you got to understand that there has been evidence of good black managers. Chris Powell's another one that was quite good as well. Look,
Darren Moore did a good job
Darren
before.
Moore was unbelievable. But do you know what I would say, and what I would criticize about all of that? I would say, look, when you play the race card and say, well, why did he get sacked? What was the problem? Do you know what should have happened before that? So before, we should have been championing black people as we usually do to be coaches and managers. We should be championing that anyway. And when you're in a job, you should be championing that there's not enough black coaches. There's not enough this. Why am I the only one up here? Do you know what I mean? So when you're in a position of power, that's when you have to talk out. Do you know what I mean? When you can, that's why I commend people like Raheem Sterling. You got to keep the same message consistently. Not when they afterwards, then you say, oh, it's about race. Do you know what I mean? Because when you're playing the race card, do you understand? But if you're in a position of power and you're saying, okay, I'm up here, where's the rest of us? Do you understand? That's when you can actually make a difference and say, oh, well, I'm doing a good job, so I'm showing that I can actually do this. Do you know what I mean? Not when you actually get sacked and then you say, oh, well, there's not enough black managers, we can't do it. Do you understand? So you got to kind of counteract what they're saying, but while you're at the top, and be brave enough to come out with it and not just say to yourself, well, I'm up here now, I'm going to keep quiet and I'm going to pander to what they're saying. No, that's when you got to come out even more and say, I want more of my colour and what people that look like me up there with me. Do you understand? And that's when you might see a change if you see a black successful manager, and I hope that will be in the next 5 to 10 years, yeah? And then they're bringing in their other people and telling them, yes, we can do this. And that's when you'll see a nice little momentum of black coaches, black managers, and you will hopefully see a change. But if we don't see it like that, and we only complain when we've been sacked, then it's just going to be the bandwagon thing. Oh, he's only saying that because he's been sacked. Oh, you can't get another job. That's where we have to try and get out that mentality to say we need to keep the message consistent at the start, when you're in it, and then at the end.
Just looking at another angle, that it's not just to black managers, it's to kind of English managers as well, because since the Premier League has started, you've seen an influx of foreign players and foreign managers, and that seems to be the fashionable way in terms of recruitment. Are some people overlooking the situation and saying, hold on a minute, it's not just black managers, it's also English managers, which is in a small quantity in terms of who's in big jobs.
That's another way of looking at it too. So when you look across the management table, I would say, what should I say, you'd see what could I say? There's a lot of foreign managers, definitely. But there's not a lot of English managers. And I always said the best managers are Scottish anyway.
Alex Ferguson. Alex Ferguson. I'm an Arsenal guy, but Alex Ferguson was the guy.
Yeah, I always say like the best British managers are always Scottish or probably Irish. You know what I mean? But there's not a lot of great English managers. Like Cloughy, brilliant. You know what I mean? But when you look at...
I used to love them jumpers of Cloughy, man. The green jumpers of Cloughy.
Yeah, he's a G, you know what I mean? But when you look across the board, yeah, Sam Allardyce is up there. Do you know what I mean? But you've got to give him his due. You know what I mean? He stayed consistent for a lot. Allardyce, you know what I mean? He stayed consistent. He was up there for how many years? You know what I mean? So you don't get enough credit, you know. But what I would say is like, yeah, you're right. English, and then you could stay black, yeah. But it's not enough representing that sort of thing at the moment. And yeah, it's a nice that you actually brought that up to my attention, because I didn't actually look at it like that.
Because it's like...
I was just going on the colour of your skin. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
because I'm just trying to provide a balanced argument. You know, I want to see unity. I want to see people being given opportunities. And looking at the broader scale, even in terms of English players, right? I've been watching football for a long time, right?
Yeah.
And there was a stage where no English player was going to really being bought by top teams. Yeah, it's just taken the recent years. We've seen some top quality English players, that are highly coveted by big clubs. I mean, even Chelsea looking at Ben Chilwell, top left back.
Yeah, top.
Previously, Chelsea would have gone for a different type of left back, and not necessarily an English left back. And you see Sancho, Man United potentially. You know, even Chelsea again. So English players now are in a demand, whereas before
they're in a demand.
So there's
going
many
Germany
angles
and all that sort of stuff. Look, I'll tell you what's going on as well. Like, obviously, people don't want things until it's hot. Yeah. So it's like when Mourinho first come over to the country. Like, obviously, when he first come, I was in the squad. So I saw his training session was totally different to anything I'd ever seen in my life. Yeah. He changed the formation as well of the Premier League at the time, because we won on a 4-3-3 formation. Do you know what I mean? And everybody else started doing that formation because it worked. Do you know what I mean? So once something starts trending, other people start jumping on it. So it's taken Jadon Sancho and a few other players to go to Germany, make a name for themselves, for English players now to be hot again. Do you know what I mean? So young English players to be hot. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes it takes certain things for it to start trending, and then everyone jumps on it. Do you know what I mean? And that's a lot. That's like everything in life. Like, people don't want, like, back in the day, everyone used to like wearing Moschino, then it jumped off a bit. Now I'm seeing some people wearing Moschino again, and people want to buy Moschino again now. People want to buy Iceberg again now. Do you know what I mean? It's whatever's trending at that retro. It's what's trending at the time. That's what people are going to jump on. So I'm not saying that's the be-all and end-all of how football is, but it is trending. Does help a lot of people's aspects on a subject, and it kind of gives it momentum. That's why I do say about the black managers. As long as there's one or two that's up there and they're doing it, then that breaks the mold. Do you know what I mean? And they're talking on bringing other black people into the mold, other English managers into the mold, because we are good enough. But it's just about getting us to that level there. And as I said in an interview the other day, I said, look, we have to be, as black people, not just black people, anybody that goes in for a job, you have to be efficient. So everything that you've studied, make sure you studied it fully. Yeah. So when you do go in a job, like, you know, it shouldn't be about your color. So you go in there and you've got all the full qualifications. You've got experience behind you as well. You know how to deal. You're good with people. You got a people's manager. You can manage different sort of aspects in your life. You might have a company that you're managing, so you know how to work people. Do you know what I mean? So these aspects of football is not just about going in there and saying, "Oh, I used to play 20 years at the top. I've got vast experience. Give me a job." Nah, you got to start going to an owner and say, "Listen, I know how to manage I know how to manage things. I know football. I know that I can actually." Hold on. What's happening there? Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah. Yeah, so I know I can actually manage things, and I can manage people, and I can organize. I'm a good organizer. I'm a leader as well. I'm a good people's man. I actually can bring value to what you have right now in your squad. So I can nurture that player. Let me look at your youth team. Okay, I can bring him in. We can sell him for whatever. Have a plan before you go in somewhere. Don't just go in there saying, well, yeah, man, my name's Carlton Cole. Yeah, I know the game. I know good formations. I know how to deal with that. No problem. Nah, that's not enough. You got to know how to make that man money. He's an owner. He ultimately wants to make money, doesn't he? Because that's why he owns a football club. So you go on a business level to him first. Then you say, listen, after that, this is what I want to look after. I want a style of play. That's my formation. That's my thing there. Yeah, after that. And now let's look at the youth. How many youth players have we got that's good enough to get into my first team? Then you start looking, you're covering all the board, then your manager, that's a manager. Do you know what I mean? That's what we have to do as black people. So you have to show these lot we can manage and we can make your equity grow as well in the club. And then watch, you'll see, and once one or two starts to get that business end of it, then you'll start seeing more managers, more people in higher places in the positions of power in football clubs. And that's where we start to grow as a unit and unify people, and black people be looked at in a different way in football. But right now, we haven't ever had that. We're just looking at the football part. Look at the other stuff as well. It's not just the football. Are you good with the media? Do you know what I mean? Are you forthcoming? Are you welcoming to the media? Are you relatable to people? That's all we have to look at the whole aspect. And the first person to go in there and tick all them boxes, I bet you they're successful. And people it won't just be black people willing them on to do well. It'll be white people as well. It'll be Indian, it'll be Asian people, it'll be everybody willing this person to do well, because the guy is just a likable chap and I want him to do well. So when you have good energy behind you, you will do well, and eventually, unless you majorly mess up, which I'm sure you won't, because you've got all your boxes ticked, then you should be fine, man. But you've got to go into an interview knowing that I've got to make sure I tick all these boxes before I go for that job.
Would you make of the comments from Dwight Yorke that he's not even getting to an interview? Surely that's of some concern.
All right, so I understand where he's coming from fully, and I realise, and I'm with him with it. And I hate when people use his personal life to dictate.
Okay.
To dictate. I read it, and they use his personal life. He might have made a few mistakes in the past, but that don't define him as a person, and that don't define his future. Do you understand? So everyone makes mistakes in life. There's nothing wrong with that, but don't let that define your future. And other people are actually commenting on his personal life to say he's not fit for the job because of this. He's not fit for the job because he was a party boy back in the day. That does not say that he's not a good manager. How can that say he's not a good manager? Don't ever. That's one thing about human society. They always judge you on your past. You could have changed 5 years ago, but whatever you've done 5 years prior to that, yeah, you will get judged on it now. But you might actually be brilliant at your job, and what you're doing is bringing wealth of experience, and you're helping others, and you've changed your life around. All of a sudden, no, you're not good for the job because that happened over there 5 years ago. That had actually nothing to do with you. I went through my torment and my turmoil there, but now you're trying to bring back into my life today when I'm trying to get better my life and try and get a job and get on the ladder. That's not fair. And look, timing's everything. And I heard what Dwight's saying, and it's really uplifting to think that he actually does want to roll in the game, and I'd love to have half of his experience and learn from him. So yeah, it is a bit underwhelming that he actually hasn't even been selected for an interview. But why? It's because I know why, because they're using his past against him. That is the only reason.
Would you have, but I mean, again, looking at the other side, you could say the same, say like Gascoigne started applying for jobs, Paul Gascoigne, Gazza.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, he could be judged on things, outside of football. Again, he might not even get to the interview stage as well. So people might argue and say, look, you know what? It's probably the profile and the person's history rather than the color of the person.
Yeah.
That could also...
Yeah, you could say that too. You could actually say that. But imagine there's no proof of that a black person being in a position of power like that in your whole life. Do you know what I mean? So whether it's Dwight Yorke, whether it's anybody else, at least with Gaza, there's been loads of white managers. Do you know what I mean? But we haven't even had the chance, and you're going to use that against him. Well, it's the profile of what you've done before. That's not fair. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, with Gaza, it's a little bit different because it's Gaza, innit? Like, you know, if he was to try and apply for a job, everyone might know he's not that serious about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you can't put that tag on Dwight because that's a bit unfair. That you can't compare the two. Dwight didn't do what Gaza done. Do you know what I mean? So you can't really do that. So it's a bit harsh, that comparison. I'm not saying, but I understand where you're coming from on that. Yeah.
No, because look, like we were saying earlier in the conversation, I feel once one manager comes in and is successful, others will follow. Because I mean, even football players. I remember there was a time after, I think Spain won the Euros after years of not winning anything. Spanish players were they were the golden ticket. Everybody was buying Spanish players.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean, so
it was trending. It was trending. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you look at football and what it is, I told you about the 4-3-3. I saw that. I was thinking, wow, everyone's playing 4-3-3 now.
Yeah. Of course. And there was a false number 9 as well.
Yeah, the false number. And then Pep came in and done the 5 at the back. You know what I mean? Everyone started doing 3-2, whatever it was. So I was like, wow, everyone copies suit. So whatever looks like it's winning, you go and have a look. You look at the training, you think, okay, I'll do that. So you go there, anything that's trending, people jump on the bandwagon, man. It's as simple as that. It's a little bit like what's going on right now. There's a lot of people that don't feel actually how passionate we feel about Black Lives Matter and all those sort of things, and they don't even understand it. But because they feel that everyone else is doing it, they're just jumping on it as well. Do you know what I mean? So it is what it is.
What I find really funny is I've been watching a lot of motor comedian stuff, and I know you're still working young players. I mean, how would you deal with a roadman footballer? You know,
I see them all the time, bro.
Carlton, you're gassing me, blood. You're gassing me.
Do you know what? That's where diversity comes in. Because listen, we all know Roadmen. So I know how to treat him. I know how to talk to him. You know what I mean? That's where diversity. But imagine someone that don't understand him. Don't just look at him. And then they'll either find him funny or they'll find him offensive without respect. That's why you need to have someone around them sort of situations that know what they're doing. You know what I mean? But it's just another scenario, right? So when I was playing, I got done for a tweet about the immigration and the Ghana information. That tweet wasn't actually mine. It was actually Kojo's. Yeah, Kojo the comedian. It was his actual tweet, but I retweeted it and I copied and pasted it because I found it was funny within the African community because it's always a Nigerian jollof or a Ghanaian jollof or, you know what I mean? And then we always having a go at each other, you know what I mean? So I done it, actually, I shouldn't have put it on my Twitter. That's where I was not educated enough. But I should have just put it in our group chat or whatever because that's where we have our banter about the Nigerians versus Ghana situation all the time. And I see it's quite silly now, but I shouldn't have done it. But I put it on my Twitter, and I got fined 20 grand. So I went into the FA when they was going to give me my charge. They was going to charge me with, either they're going to give me like a 5 to 10 match ban, or they was going to fine me. And then I was like, when I walked into the room, I was like, wow. So I walk into the room. There's a round table. I walk in, and I'm like, wow. Ain't nobody of colour here, boy. How am I going to explain myself? Saying, do you know what? It's actually okay because my culture, we actually just gun each other all the time. But you lot not going to understand our banter. Do you understand? So how am I actually going to explain to any of you guys where I was coming from? And I won't be able to win this case. So that's why I say diversity in the higher echelons, in the higher parts of the office in football, we're just not represented properly, and no one can understand what we're saying. It's not just like it's not just about having one black guy there and then he's gonna tell the rest of them, oh, that's what it means, so he's all right. No, there's got to be a few black people up there that understand the culture, understand what it's like to come from the gutter to make it to a professional footballer. We have to be represented properly. I went into that room and they didn't understand any sort of language I was saying because they don't understand black people. You know what I mean? So that's why I say if a Roadman footballer come into football and in the academy and I'm there coaching, I'll understand him because I know about them sort of things there and I know how to get the best out of him. But imagine somebody that has no clue how to treat this guy and he would be like, whoa, like, I don't know what to do with this guy. Nah, I'd rather not to have the trouble or the stress, yeah? So we'll have to release him. Do you know what I mean? So my man, he might be a wicked footballer, but you just can't relate to him. You understand? So that's where there's got to be diverse. That's where the diversity comes in football, man.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, like I said at the beginning of the interview, it's not about separation. It's about unity. It's about everyone having the opportunity to, have equal opportunities. And one positive I can take from the process is, we see people coming together to protest for what's right. And that's all people are looking for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I love the movement at the moment, and I just hope it doesn't fall off and people start forgetting it the next day. I was looking at the news this morning, and I see them taking down the slavers statues and all that sort of stuff. That's a wicked thing. That is like owning your faults. As a white person, that's like, do you know what? That was wrong, you know. So how are we celebrating this guy and giving him a statue? And then we've got black people that actually came here to do good things for us. And let's not focus on the bad things because there's a lot of bad things in this world that black people do. There's a lot of bad things in this world that white people do. You know what I mean? Let's not focus on their bad traits. Let's focus on what we done that was originally bad to make them feel this way. Do you know what I mean? So now they're actually starting to realize that taking off these ornaments, these things they're celebrating is actually is a step closer to them, their redemption. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to ever be, they're never ever going to be, we could say forgive, but they're never ever going to be able to erase that from their history. But at least they can do something towards it to say, recognize and say, we were wrong and we support you now and things have changed since then. And don't blame that on us, but we're with you now. Do you know what I mean? That's all we ask for. And given a fair opportunity on other things in life, as in getting higher up in the offices, having proper representations. We're not just seen as entertainers. I hate, and I'll put something up on my Instagram. I hate when people just look at us as entertainers. They like our culture. They like watching us play football. Like we're on all sorts of sport. We're doing the music, hip hop, all these dances you're seeing is coming from us. Yet you don't want to support the move that we're saying we matter. You don't understand what it means to be black, mate. So you're just taking our culture and you're not even supporting the culture that you like. So what does that mean? You know what I mean? So that's why I like what's going on. And I'm seeing a lot of I've got so much faith in the future now because I see so many young, not just black, but white people going out there protesting. Because when you look at it as well, flip it the other way. You're born white, yeah? You're born white. All of a sudden, you see some injustice and all that. Yeah, you turn the blind eye to it because it doesn't affect you when you were younger. Then you start seeing it affecting your mate that's black. And you're thinking, hold on a minute. How's that happening? I went to school with this guy. And why is my mum or my dad speaking bad about this guy's skin complexion? I don't see nothing wrong with him. Do you know what I mean? Because now it's more multicultural. So imagine that person, that white person now is thinking, do you know what? No, man, I don't like feeling this way. Why am I subjected to feeling like I am racist? I'm not racist. I love everybody. And then they start saying all lives matter. That's when you say all lives matter. That's not the movement right now. Then you educate them even more. Then they're thinking, oh no, I'm fully on board now because now I understand what it is. When people just want to say, Black Lives Matter, and they say, nah, all lives matter, they don't get what Black Lives Matter means. But when you see most of these young white kids, are actually supporting this movement, and they're thinking that because they're educated and understand the concept of what we're asking for. We're not asking for a lot. We just want to ask for equal opportunities because we're not equal and it's quite evident. Do you know what I mean? And they can see it's quite evident because they have privileges that we don't have. Do you know what I mean? So it's just evident that that's why I say the future is bright, man, for everybody. And not just black people, for white people as well, because we can now look at white people in a different way too.
Wow. Hey, Carlton,
Man.
it's been a pleasure, man. Catching up. Are you resuming West Ham obviously for next week?
Well, yeah. So listen, I've got so I've got to do a lot of commentary and all that sort of stuff. So I'm gonna get a lot of jobs. I'm gonna be on doing a lot of media. But yeah, man, I'm just glad to be back. I'm glad to be back, and the players are back training. I'm going to the training ground next week. So, but the under 16, the academies are off at the moment. So we're just finding ways. I've got an on the ball app called that me and Sean Wright Phillips are part of.
Okay.
It's like an app where all these kids can actually learn from pros and what they do, and it gives them it's got about 2,000 drills on there that people can actually go outside and just do training on their own and keep their fitness up, conditioning, football skills, technique, and all that. So we've just launched that last year, but now it's coming into more effect. So that's what we're using for the academy players now. So it's actually been it's been quite good for me business-wise. You know what I mean? But I would say, like, there's other aspects. Like now, I'm getting involved with like sanitizers and all that sort of stuff, and just so that we can get some normality back with being going back to the what do you call it? So we could get crowds going back to football. So I'm trying to think of ways to get crowds back into football. So I'm going to be working with the Premier League quite closely and doing loads of other little bits and bobs, man. Bro, I'm just keeping busy, man. Like I told you, I'm hustling out here, bro. So there's a lot of other players as well. There's a lot of other players that are doing the same thing, but we're all on the same page and everyone's trying to help each other now because everyone now knows unity is the best thing, man. So if I can help you in anything, I'll help you. If you can help me in anything, you help me, you know what I mean? So everyone has to just move in the same direction, uplifting, man. So that's one thing that's come out of this period of lockdown, that everybody can now go on Zoom chats. There's no excuses no more not to help anybody. You know what I mean? There's no excuses. So we can all learn from this movement, man. It's brilliant, man. It's brilliant.
That's it. The last thing before I go,
yeah, man.
Boxing at all?
Boxing, I do love boxing. Yeah.
Yeah. Who wins?
I'm not like
Who wins, Joshua or Tyson Fury? Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury? If that ever happens, who wins?
Woo! Do you know what, bro? Like for me, yeah, I love Anthony Joshua, innit? I love him, yeah. But Tyson Fury is so awkward, yeah. Like I've watched him, I think this geezer is proper awkward to play. I wouldn't want to play against a player like that. It's like playing against Peter Crouch, bro. Do you know what I mean? How do you win a header? You know what I mean? He just got a different. They've got different techniques. But yes, and I'm a great supporter of both of them. I love Anthony Joshua and I love Fury. But I would have to say on this one, yeah, I would have to say Fury might edge it because of his unorthodox style. Do you know what I mean? But I know that AJ, he's an athlete, innit? He's a proper athlete. He can get in and amongst it. But I probably think based on styles, nothing to do with being a better boxer, I would have to go with Fury. I would have to go with him just on styles alone because I see how he dispatched Deontay Wilder, man. That was crazy. I was thinking, nah, Deontay's gonna get him. He's gonna get him. He's gonna get him. He didn't come through, bro. I was like, oh, what the hell is gonna go on? So that alone, but I know that AJ can adapt, so that might work in AJ's favor. He might be able to adapt. But let AJ, he has to beat this. Is it Pulev? He has to beat Pulev soon, innit? Yeah, he has to beat him. So yeah, he's good, innit? So I'd like to see how he is. But I know he'll probably beat Pulev, and then after that, it will be hopefully Tyson Fury will get that ball rolling on that. But Anthony's injured at the moment, isn't he?
He's got a knee injury, but I think he'll still be able to fight should that fight go ahead. Apparently, it's not a serious injury.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Hopefully, yeah, man. Because good luck to him, man. Because look, I want obviously Anthony's Nigerian, innit? So I'm half Nigerian, and I know what it means for Nigerians for him to win. But I'm just going on. I'm not going on what it is. I'm going on if there was both yellow people, yeah, like the emojis, yeah, and I went on their styles. That's all I'm going on. I'm going on styles. And that guy, Fury, is an awkward person, bro. I would not be able to play against that guy in a football sense. You know what I mean? He's a bit weird.
All right, Carlton, it's been a pleasure catching up, man. Thanks again for your time, man.
Yes, my brother. No problem.
All right. Pep
All right
Talk,
then, bro.
Carlton Cole, Pro Beez. Remember, subscribe. We out here.
Out ya. Take care.
Cheers, bro. Cheers,
Yes,
man.
yes.
Cheers.
Later.